Welcome back to the Girl Out of Order podcast. I'm back. I am so happy to be back. The last couple weeks have been so needed for me. I took last week off of recording this podcast, and it was so needed. If you're listening on a regular basis, you know that my 102-year-old great granny passed away. And so I took last week off to take a beat, allow myself to do some grieving and reflection and just take the freaking pressure off. Sorry if I'm yelling. I'm not sorry. I'm yelling because I'm feeling it. I don't know about you, but autumn is a time of year where I am a little bit dragging, kicking and screaming because I don't want summer to end, but I'm hungry for routine. And then routine is here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the crush of the routine. And I'm like pulling my hair out. And I sometimes just don't stay present for what's going on in my life. And I'm writing a different story. And so this week we are talking about a topic that I believe that so many women need. And it starts with me. We are talking about recalibration. That's a big ass word. And you know I love me some big words. But if you're feeling out of sync, if you're feeling off kilter, if you're feeling like things are working, but they're just not working at an optimal level, it's time to hit the pause, hit the brakes, and recalibrate. And I chose this word in particular because I'm obsessed with RE words right now. If you're getting our inbox inspirations, and if you're not, please sign up because we send out emails every Monday and usually on Thursdays. And on Mondays, I've been dealing with RE words, I've been exploring RE words because it feels like the fall is a time that we can sort of do a reset, right? A reassessment. We've got 4 months left in this gorgeous year of our life. And the flow of seasons, whether you live somewhere where seasons change weather-wise or not, it is a different season. And it's an opportunity to step back, take a look at where you're at, what you've accomplished, where you've come from, and where you still want to go. And sometimes that means we got to change it up. But for today's purposes, I wanted to address recalibration for a number of reasons because I have created Girl Out of Order because I needed and still need Girl Out of Order. I need to be reminded that I don't have to fit a mold if it no longer fits me. And so I am doing some recalibration of my own. And before I go into my story of where I'm at and what is going on in my heart, mind, and spirit, we probably should flesh out what recalibration actually means because it's not a word we use very often, but it is a beautiful, juicy, meaningful word. I'm just going to read it because I don't want to make it up on the fly. Recalibration means taking a step back to assess your direction, your priorities, or your goals in life. It's like checking your internal compass to make sure that the path you're on, oh, I love this, aligns with your current values, desires, and sense of self. Oh, that's so good. I got to read that again. Recalibration is like checking your internal compass, your guidance system, to ensure that the path you're on aligns with your current values, your current desires, and I love this, your current sense of self. Sisters, as we grow and change, what we once wanted or pursued, or in my case, announced, might no longer resonate with where we actually are. You see, recalibration, it involves reflecting on what's working and what might need to change to move forward in a way that feels authentic to me and fulfilling. I don't want to live a life where I check boxes or get an atta-girl from other people if I'm not giving an atta-girl to myself. That was kind of a weird phrase, atta-girl, but you get my point. If I'm choosing how to use my time and my energy in ways that no longer align to me, it's time to recalibrate. When I think of the word recalibration, what I think about is the chains on a bicycle wheel. You know when you're riding a bike and the chain just kind of comes off, not when it comes completely off so that the wheels no longer work, but when it's just a little bit off so that you're still able to pedal the bike. The bike is still moving, but it's clunky, it's loud, it's noisy, it's distracting. It's time to recalibrate. It's time to take a step back, remove the chains from the pieces that aren't working, and realign them so that the wheels move in an optimal way. Sisters, that's what we need to do in our life sometimes. And sometimes we need to recalibrate when we really didn't want to. When we really thought we were so sure of the direction we were going, we were like gung-ho, like, yes, this is it. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling focused. I'm going to step out and take a chance, and I'm going to announce something big. And then all of a sudden, you realize you're like standing on a stage in a stadium filled with people, and you bendy pantsed. That's such a weird word picture. And I don't mean to over dramatize the emotion, but sometimes that's how it feels. When we are going full steam ahead, and it's not necessarily anything big that derails our direction. It's just a feeling of misalignment with our purpose. So sometimes we need to shift gears. Sometimes we need to let go of goals that we thought were clear and aligned and we were fired up. And we need to make room to listen, to pause, to breathe. Basically, recalibration, it's about staying true to who you are becoming rather than pushing forward on who you thought you were. So 2 weeks ago, I was so excited. Just 2 weeks ago, I was so excited on this podcast to announce that on September 30th, I was finally launching my Own Your Identity Mastermind with my friend Dawn Taylor, and we were going to create this global community, and I was really, really freaking fired up, and I felt clear on my purpose, and I was like, announce it, Christine, it'll light a fire under your butt, but that's not what happened. I just got off a coaching call with my Tony Robbins beautiful results coach I've had for, it's been almost 3 years now. And she is so good for me because she calls me out. She says, so many people approach life with do, have, be, when it's actually supposed to be the opposite. Be, do, have. And I was like, I don't know what you mean, girl. You got to flesh that out. And so she really laid it out for me that when you're making a decision about a direction you want to go, you need to, if you want success and you want alignment, you must start with who do I want to be, or what do I want my life to be, or how do I want my business to be? What values do I want to have? So I'm using the word have. I'm trying to avoid that. What values do I want to embody? So when you think about, sorry, my dog is decided to, this is a great time for him to bark. So welcome to live podcasting over here. Bentley, come. I am so sorry. The joys of live podcasting. God. It's actually, who do I want to be? What values do I want to be embodying? And everything flows from that. So then you move to, what do I need to do so that I can be that person? And then what am I going to have when all of that aligns? I'm not fleshing this out quite as clearly as I want to, but it made perfect sense in the context of the Own Your Identity Mastermind, because I was so focused on setting a goal and running hard after it and pushing myself and stepping out into the uncertainty and embracing variety. And I was so focused on doing. I was so focused on achieving. I was so focused on following through. And to be honest, I was focusing on not letting Dawn down. Then I missed the whole freaking point. Because who do I want to be in this season now involves a recalibration of my goals and a recalibration of my priorities. Because when I looked at my life and I looked at my calendar and I looked at my priorities for my family, I'm looking at my calendar right now if you're on YouTube, I knew I needed to make a shift. You see, this autumn is unlike any other autumn I've ever had. This fall is Chelsea, my second daughter's final soccer season of her college career, of her entire career, not just college. And she plays for University of Wisconsin lacrosse. And so it involves a lot of travel. And when I was looking at my calendar, I was realizing we are traveling almost every single week. And so I had to ask myself, like, who do I want to be as a mom this fall? And the word that came to me was, I want to be present. I want to be present. I want to be focused. I want to be joyful, because it's really easy when we go through transitions in life. It's so easy to hand wring, like, oh, I can't believe this is ending, or oh dear God, please let this end, depending on what your circumstance is. But I know for us mamas in particular, when our children are coming to an end of their childhood, or they're going into school maybe for the first time, or they're leaving for school, that's a really hard one. Or they're ending their entire sporting career. Like, it takes a lot of energy to be positive and to be grateful. And I realized as I started looking at my goals for this fall, I was shoehorning in this mastermind into a schedule that is filled with joy and celebration and excitement. And if I did that, I would be doing a disservice not only to the women of the mastermind, but to my daughter and to myself. And it came to me after I'd already announced it that this is not the right time. And I'll be really honest with you, sisters. I went dark. I went dark emotionally. I felt feelings of embarrassment. I felt unhealthy feelings of humiliation. I allowed myself to wallow in self-pity. And I allowed the shitty committee to tell me I'm a failure because I didn't reach my goals, and I put it out there. And once again, I'm using quotes, I didn't follow through. And I really did not serve myself, because I allowed my old story and my old pattern to run roughshod over reality. Because the reality is I was honoring myself. I was listening to my signals. I was heeding the call of needing to be present, but not just needing to be present, desiring to be present, because I want to help women and I want to do this for myself, know what they need, want, desire out of life, and freaking go for it. No holds barred. But what I didn't do is I didn't ask myself, what do I really desire for this fall? Because what I desire was conflicting with what I was doing. And so when your doing conflicts with your actual core desires, it's time to recalibrate. It's time to take a step back and shift your expectations for what you should be pursuing in this moment. Because here's the amazing news, not just for myself, but for you all. Coming in January, I am launching the Own Your Identity Mastermind. Unless God calls me differently, the goal is to launch it at the beginning of the year, because that is aligned with my overall goals for the next few months. And it honors me being present for my daughter. So sometimes in life, we set milestones or we set goals, we have aspirations, and we get halfway there and it just doesn't feel right. We thought it was going to make us happy. We thought it was going to fire us up. We thought it was going to feel great. We thought it was the right decision. And it's just not. Do you have the courage to listen? Do you have the courage to make a change? Sometimes it's as simple as knowing something isn't right, even if you can't name what the right thing is. You still put the brakes on and you recalibrate. It can be scary though. It can take you into a dark place if you allow it, because that's what it did for me. There was a part of me that says, if I'd let this go, I've failed. I've let myself and I've let others down. I'm a failure. Boy, is that a bunch of bullshit. The truth is, letting go isn't failure, it's freedom. Because as soon as I really let it go, and as soon as I decided, because I'm not waffling anymore, I've decided Chelsea matters. This season matters. I will never get these games back. I will never get these experiences back. I will never get this time back. Once I made that decision and I opened my hands and I let that shit go, I felt peace. I'm actually dying right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, for whatever reason, there was just some fireworks that went off and it was the most perfectly freaking timed fireworks. I love these new programs. I could not redo that if I tried, but that was really super cool. So sisters, shedding things that no longer serve you, it isn't easy, but it isn't as hard as we make it out to be. It's about an intentional choice to be honest with your beautiful self and to honor what serves you so that you can serve those you are called to. I am right now in the process of pursuing clarity. I don't have complete clarity about every step that's coming, but what I did know is that the steps I was taking was no longer taking me where I needed to go and what aligned with where I want to be. So back to the be, do, have. Sorry, she just taught me this and coached me through this. I want to be a present, peaceful mama. I want to be a joyful cheerleader on those sidelines. I want to be able to relax and enjoy my daughter and her teammates in this last soccer season. I don't want that nagging feeling of I need to hurry up and make sure I answer those emails and do the worksheets and prepare for the mastermind and this and that and fill in the blank. And because that's who I want to be, that's the woman I'm going to show up as, I have to do things differently, which means the mastermind isn't happening right now. And I'm good, but I don't want to paint a rosy picture. It took some effort. You hear that sigh because I didn't like those days when I was allowing myself to wallow, and I don't want that for you. So if you're feeling out of sync, it's time to recalibrate, sisters. What I want you to do is I want you to have some tools so you don't go dark like I did. So how do we do this? Where do we begin? It starts with something that Christine Gale rails against, but always, always, always benefits from, and it's stillness. It's stillness. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to do more, achieve more, be more. But recalibration calls us to slow down, get quiet, and listen to that inner voice. A good friend of mine, when I was trying to decide on a direction, invited me to put my hands on my heart and ground myself by taking my shoes off and feel where my body swayed when I said yes or no to a certain decision. And I was all like, this is so woo-woo and weird, and kind of rolled my eyes, but I indulged it because I'm really in that posture right now. If I haven't tried it, why not? How do I know that I can't learn from it? And it really surprised me. I don't know if that works for you or doesn't work for you. There's all kinds of ways you can ground yourself and listen to your inner voice and get still and do the meditation. But it all comes back to stillness. If you are constantly rushing and pushing and going to the next thing and next thing and next thing, you're not going to be able to hear when that still small voice speaks to you and says, hey, sister, over here. Over here. Here is where you need to be. And being here will show you what you need to do. So that when you do those things, this is what you get to have. So take some time to reflect this week. Ask yourself the questions I asked myself. What goals or desires no longer resonate with me? Be honest, even if it's hard, even if you feel a little burning humiliation like I did, even if you have to disappoint a friend. Second question, what am I pursuing out of habit or obligation rather than genuine passion and current alignment? I am still ridiculously passionate about the Own Your Identity Mastermind, and it can wait because right now I felt more obligated than I did aligned. And number 3, where am I feeling that most resistance in my life? You can even ask yourself, are you feeling resistance in your body? But look at your beautiful life. Where am I feeling that resistance? Dial in to when you are making a decision or choosing where to spend your time or energy. Do you feel like you're in flow, or do you feel like you're white knuckling it? You got to get honest. This is not about judgment. It's about clarity. It's not about letting somebody down. It's about stepping up for yourself and then giving yourself permission to let it go. Recalibrating some kind of machinery means that you take the parts out, you grease them down, and you put them back together. And it's really weird. You can tell I'm clearly not a mechanic. But when I think about something being recalibrated, it's like it needs some help to function at its optimal level. I needed to recalibrate my priorities. Stupid. Again, a perfectly timed little thing on the video was a thumbs up when I said that. I love it. And here's some fun little things. Now, these are just silly little things that Christine's doing right now. Little rabbit trail here, but I knew I needed to recalibrate my priorities. I needed to take apart some of my gears, grease them down, and put them together so they can function better. And you know what? I decided in the week that I took off from the podcast and the time that I was just celebrating Granny's life and taking a little detour. If you're on YouTube, I cut my bangs. I did. I have bangs for the first time in probably 20 something years. I love them. They're a little janky, but that's cool. I'm cool with janky. And then I went and I got eyelashes. If you can believe that. It's so funny if you can see it. I'm like blinking like I have butterflies on my eyelashes. And I got my nails done. These are not silly little things. I almost said the wrong word. These are just little ways that I'm honoring myself taking a detour. Because this week, I have the unbelievable honor of flying to Nashville to speak to the Women's Power Luncheon, the My Nashville Women's Power Luncheon, alongside my mentor, Lauren freaking Lahav. And I needed to create space to do that. And so once I got clear on what I needed to let go when I recalibrated, I had space to bless myself, change some things up, zhuzh myself, as my friend Veronica would say. And then today, as I was out in nature, feeling this openness, my Nashville talk came to me. Here's what happens when we recalibrate. We open up channels of creativity, channels of expression, channels of connection. And then we get to go to the next level. When we're white knuckling it, sisters, and we're pushing and pushing and prodding and poking at ourselves and stretching ourselves beyond what we really should do, guess what happens? We burn out, we break down, and then the goals that we really had to serve, they aren't met. Or if they are met in some ways, we pay too heavy of a price. So your girl's sitting here with some new bangs, some eyelashes and nails, and a really beautiful talk that I can't wait to deliver this week in Nashville. I'm so glad you joined me today because I suspect that I am not alone in needing to recalibrate, in needing to be able to have the courage to reflect on what is working and what just isn't working. Because here's the thing. All good goals aren't necessarily good for you. So what do you need to do to reflect? What do you need to change? What do you need to let go of? What do you need to remove? And what do you need to add in? You can't know that if you are too busy doing that you forget that you are a human being. We are in this together. I'm so thankful to be back. Next week, I am so excited to share with you about my talk from Nashville. We are going to be exploring the keynote that I'm developing called She Is. Who she is. I cannot wait to share that with you. It's really the beginning of some more in-depth identity work, but it all aligns with this recalibration, this reassessment, that's reevaluation, all of this time to sort of take a breather and then dive in to what's next with clarity, with peacefulness, and with connection to your most authentic self, because we lose ourselves when we are pushing too hard without the right alignment. I love you, girl. You are doing amazing. Thank you for your patience with me as my goals unfold, as sometimes they take pivots. I promise you, this project is coming. I know that the timing will be right when it's right. I am no longer indulging in the shitty committee that tells me I failed, that tells me I just won't follow through. I'm not believing any of those lies. I'm writing a new story. And the new story is I am so proud of myself for giving myself enough love and grace and kindness to recalibrate my life, my mission, my goals, my business, and this beautiful podcast. I'm so thankful you're a part of it. If you would, please join our Girl Out of Order community. We have so much goodness coming in the month of October. I'm taking September to recalibrate, but in October, we have a challenge that's going to be unfolding. So if you don't get the inbox inspirations, make sure you get that. It's announced in there, but it will also be announced in the Girl Out of Order Facebook community. And please share this podcast with anybody you know that needs a little bit of a shot in the arm, that maybe needs a reminder that it's okay for her to slow down, take a breath, and maybe make some pivots that she needs to be aligned with her highest goals. Please leave us a review. We want to grow the Girl Out of Order podcast. So grateful that you joined me. Have an amazing week. Cannot wait to share with you all of the goodness that's going to be happening in the Nashville Talk. Who she is, baby. We'll see you next time.